Last week's segment ignited the internet, particularly the comments sections, where emotions ran wild. The reaction to figures like AOC, Jasmine Crockett, and Eric Swalwell was intense. There's a sentiment brewing that the Democratic Party should promote the people the public actually wants to see, those who match the energy and urgency of the moment. But the truth is, not everyone is asking for AOC. Some argue that only the far-left circles truly support her. Others push back, saying she has mass appeal. But this divide is deeper than just party lines. It's about image, authenticity, and the future direction of American politics. Things really escalated after a rally last month in Idaho featuring AOC and Bernie Sanders. A protester threw a Palestinian flag over an American one, and the crowd erupted in cheers. Instead of anyone on stage stepping in to bring order or provide balance, they let it ride. That silence spoke volumes. It's a symptom of a bigger issue within the Democratic base. Less than 1 in 4 Democrats under 30 say they're proud to be American, and more than half say they're embarrassed. That's not just a generational gap, it's a foundational problem. Being embarrassed by America, like a kid ashamed of their mom picking them up from school, signals a level of disconnect that's hard to ignore. And as one commentator put it, the feeling's mutual. Bill Maher hasn't held back on this, neither has Megyn Kelly. Together with others, they've taken direct aim at AOC long before she could ever get close to leading the Democratic National Committee. The fear is real. Nobody wants a sequel to the Biden-Harris era, and now critics are pulling no punches. If you're into brutal political takedowns, you're not alone. The root frustration isn't just about AOC's ambitions, it's about the direction the left has taken since 2020. According to Maher, the left overreached. Looting became justice shopping. Shoplifters weren't arrested. Children's books like Anti-Racist Baby topped charts. DEI policies spread like wildfire, often without results. Cities like Portland and Seattle made dramatic policy changes, decriminalizing drugs and setting up police-free zones, only to reverse course once reality set in. Standardized testing was abandoned until schools realized how far academic standards had slipped. And even then, some teachers' unions pushed back, claiming testing itself was rooted in systemic racism. One union even tweeted during the pandemic that reopening schools was a sexist, racist act. These kinds of ideological extremes alienated everyday Americans. Maher's message was simple. Democrats, especially the far left, have lost the plot. He warned that Kamala Harris would prove unelectable, that identity politics would blow up in their faces, and that Americans were tired of performative politics. He wasn't wrong. Kamala's approval ratings sank. Democrats suffered significant losses. But instead of listening, many in the party chose to dismiss him as a traitor. The irony? None of them could call him a liar. His critiques stung because they were rooted in truth. The Harris example is especially telling. She had a real chance to lead but chose to appease the loudest voices on the far left. Instead of pushing back against radical rhetoric, she joined the chorus. She prioritized gestures over governance. If she had stood up and demanded real accountability in schools, she might have gained trust. Instead, she delivered sound bites. Now AOC seems to be walking the same path. She's more interested in viral moments than legislative results. She's become more influencer than lawmaker. The problem with that is simple. Voters want results. They don't want hashtags. They want policies, not personality cults. AOC has charisma, no doubt. Her speeches get attention. Her Instagram lives are watched by millions. But when you dig into her actual record, the shine wears off quickly. The Center for Effective Lawmaking, a nonpartisan organization, ranked her 230th out of 240 Democratic lawmakers. Among her peers from New York, she ranked dead last. She introduced 21 substantive bills. None passed. Not even one made it to the House floor. And yet, she continues to command national attention. CNN even aired a special about her called Being AOC. The DNC couldn't have asked for a better promotional tool. But it highlights the central problem. Optics matter more than outcomes. Having a massive Twitter following is seen as more valuable than having a legislative victory. It's sizzle without steak, and the public is slowly realizing that. Sure, AOC draws crowds. She trends online. She gives fiery speeches. But none of that has translated into tangible change. The people she represents aren't seeing improvements in their daily lives. There's a clear disconnect between her brand and her impact. And that's dangerous not just for her, but for the party as a whole. Because while she's building a personal brand, the GOP is gaining momentum. Her image is loud, but her record is silent. And then there's her origin story. AOC famously claims she's from the Bronx. She tells stories of growing up tough, of being a working-class bartender, of knowing the struggles of the everyday New Yorker. But that narrative doesn't quite match reality. She moved out of the Bronx at age 5 and grew up in Yorktown Heights, a quiet, upper-middle-class suburb. It's not a crime to grow up in comfort, but pretending otherwise is misleading. She now calls herself Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but many who knew her back then remember her as Sandy Cortez. Again, there's nothing wrong with rebranding or evolving, but when your public identity is built on a false foundation, it undermines credibility. She's trying to tell a rags-to-riches story that doesn't exist. And that's where things fall apart. Voters don't care if you grew up in the suburbs. They care if you can fix problems. AOC doesn't need to pretend she dodged bullets or slung drinks in rough bars to prove her commitment to the people. What she needs is to focus on results. Americans want inflation under control, borders secured, crime tackled, and schools improved. Not viral clips or identity cosplay. It's leadership that they're looking for, not theatrics. Benny Johnson even visited Yorktown Heights to see it for himself. What he found was the complete opposite of AOC's Bronx tale. Beautiful trees, clean neighborhoods, peaceful parks, a veterans memorial, all signs of a typical, safe American suburb. Not exactly the gritty setting she likes to project. Johnson's investigation further chipped away at her carefully curated image. And he wasn't alone. Former classmates and neighbors have also spoken out. They're confused by her Bronx girl claim. It's not just misleading. It's insulting to people who genuinely grew up in rough circumstances. They see AOC's act for what it is, political theater. She's pretending to be something she's not in order to gain political clout. That's not leadership. That's manipulation. This isn't unique to AOC. Kamala Harris pulled the same stunt. She was proudly black one moment, leaning into her Indian roots the next. She changed accents depending on the crowd, quoted Tupac in college, even though his albums hadn't dropped yet. She was a political chameleon changing identities to suit polling data, and it backfired. People couldn't relate. She came off as scripted, not sincere. Now AOC is following that same path. The manufactured persona, the carefully crafted backstory, the performances, it's all too familiar. And voters have grown tired of it. Authenticity matters more than ever in this climate. People want someone they can trust, someone they believe understands their struggles and has the guts to do something about it. Instead, they're getting a cast of characters. The Democratic Party has become a theater troupe. Gavin Newsom is a prime example. He plays the part of the compassionate leader, sleeves rolled up, perfect smile on display. But under his leadership, California has spiraled into chaos. Crime is up, cities are falling apart, people are leaving in droves. He plays the role well, but that's all it is, a role. This obsession with image over substance is killing the party's credibility. Every politician is cast like a movie character. We need one of these and one of those. A socialist here, a progressive there. It's no longer about qualifications or effectiveness. It's about checking boxes and pushing narratives. And people are waking up to it. The real tragedy is that this could have been avoided. All the party had to do was listen. Maher tried to warn them. Others did too. But they were ignored or attacked. The DNC kept chasing trends, crafting messages, and scripting performances. But the curtain is falling, and the audience is leaving. So here we are, with a Democratic Party full of actors, not leaders. With candidates more concerned about how they look on TikTok than how they vote in Congress. With lawmakers who chase likes instead of passing laws. And with a public that's starving for real solutions. AOC, Harris, Newsom, they've all chosen image over impact. But the act is wearing thin. Voters are paying attention. They're starting to ask questions. What have you done? What results can you show? How have you helped? And if those questions can't be answered with facts instead of flair, the backlash will only grow. So this isn't just about AOC. It's about a political culture obsessed with storytelling, branding, and theater. But America doesn't need another actor. It needs a leader, someone real, someone results-driven, someone who can stop the performance and start the progress. Because when the lights go out and the stage is empty, all that remains is whether or not you delivered. And right now, that answer is painfully clear.